Alright folks, I was browsing through Hulu when I stumbled upon a movie that had Woody Harrelson and Laura Linney sitting on the cover, and immediately I was compelled to click on it, and boy am I glad that I did. So the movie that I clicked on is called Suncoast. It is directed by Laura Chen, which is semi-biographically based on her life. As I mentioned, it has Woody Harrelson, Laura Linney, and Nico Parker, who, by the way, if you're not aware, is Thandie Newton's daughter. Which I'm sure you can probably tell, after all, she is almost a splitting image of her mom. One of the things that immediately made me want to click on this movie was seeing Woody Harrelson on the poster. I recently rewatched The Hunger Games, and Woody Harrelson's character in those movies was so awesome. I just loved him a lot, and it made me realize, man, Woody Harrelson is a fantastic actor. Why have I not seen more of him lately? I know he's doing plenty of stuff, so why am I not watching more of him? I am obviously kind of a fan. So that is why I clicked on this movie, and I'm happy to say he did a fantastic job in this movie. He plays a man who is sitting outside of a hospice, kind of in protest of the Terry Schiavo case, which, by the way, it has been a long time since that happened. People were really on the fence about whether or not we should remove the feeding tube from this woman who has been brain dead and just living in a vegetable state since the 90s. And I think it was a super complex case. I don't really remember all the repercussions of it because I was in high school. I wasn't paying attention to things like that, but it does ring a bell. So that is an interesting setting to have this movie take place against. I'm assuming that is because that is when this woman's story actually happened. Throughout the movie, you come to realize that Woody Harrelson's character is not necessarily sitting outside this hospice just in protest of the possibility of Terry Schiavo getting pulled from her life support. He is there for his own personal reasons in his own way. He has his own grief and trauma that he is trying to deal with, and this landmark case is something that he is able to put himself into as a way of distracting himself from what is really bothering him. This has got to be one of the most emotional roles I've ever seen from Woody Harrelson. That being said, there are a lot of movies of his that I have not seen. Laura Linney starts out this movie kind of unlikable, a lot like her character Wendy in Ozark, just an unpleasant woman at first. Then throughout the movie, you come to realize there's something going on with this lady. There's a reason that she is so manic and so neurotic and just so moody and angry. She is dealing with something horrible. She's dealing with a child that is dying from cancer, and that is so hard. That is something that no parent wants to experience. I can't even imagine what that would be like and what it would do to somebody. It is going to make you be kind of crazy. This is something that will shake your faith and just really test how you're going to view life and what kind of strength you have as a person. And Laura Linney really excels with playing complicated characters like this. Wendy Bird in Ozark, yes, she was kind of a villain towards the end, but she had her own complicated reasons for the path that she went down. Mostly, it was because she cared about her family. Her character in this movie is not going through anything quite that complex, but she is sometimes pretty moody, she lashes out, and she has a very complicated relationship with her daughter. But you understand throughout this movie that it is because she is dealing with the worst thing a parent can deal with. And Laura Linney did a great job. The true standout of this movie is Nico Parker. You spend the entire movie following this young girl around and seeing what it is that is driving her and what is keeping her going. And you find out that she is a girl who is like any high schooler. She wants to become popular. She would love to have more friends. But at the same time, she's dealing with something that most people in high school are not dealing with. Her brother is dying in hospice, and she has to kind of come to terms with that. She has a mom who is super overprotective, very moody, very cranky, and she has a brother who is laying there just basically a vegetable. And she is trying to navigate both high school and this complicated personal situation. This is a movie that's going to make you feel a lot of different emotions. I expect a lot of people are going to be able to relate to this story, unfortunately. And I thought Nico did a fantastic job. This girl has a bright future ahead of her. Thandie Newton should be quite proud. Her daughter is doing a very good job making her mark on Hollywood. So you can choose to look at this movie as a very sad and depressing movie. But I don't think that's what the director, Laura Chen, the writer and director of this movie, had in mind for the audience. This movie is about grief, but it's also about hope. And it's about how important it is to keep people in your life that matter to you, to keep you from going into a downward spiral of depression and anxiety that you can't come back from. You're allowed to be sad when someone is dying, but we do have to stand back up and live for those people. This movie had me heavily thinking of my own personal experience with death. The loss of my mother and the loss of my sister. Both of those deaths were horrible. They left me feeling very broken inside, particularly my sister because she was only 40. It really was just a very hard time for my whole family, and it really tested me and my abilities to overcome grief. So that's what this movie made me think of. But it wasn't making me just think of the sad things. It was making me think of the strength that I got out of this horrible tragedy, because I did come out a stronger person. When you experience loss, You have to do something. You have to become stronger in order to survive so you can live for the people that you loved and that you cared about. They don't want you going into the ground with them. They don't want you falling apart and living a miserable existence. You have to stand up. You have to keep going. You have to live for the people in your life that matters. And that is what I think this movie is trying to tell you. And I think it's a very powerful story. For me, I would give this movie an 8 out of 10. I thought the performances were excellent. Guys, if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to hear more things from me, please subscribe to my channel. That's all I have to say. Until the next time, folks. Later.